Okay, so that is almost finished, and there you go. Okay, so let's have a look at the size example. The original file is 139, and the example of the crushed one using Avidemux is now 18 megs. So I mean, that is a huge difference. And if I just have a look at it, if I find there we are, it still looks pretty damn good, as in unperceptibly worse. It looks fine. Okay, so what we're going to do now is exactly what do we do once we've got our file. So this is the file that we recorded, and imagine that as your draft. You've either got a single file for all your draft with pauses, or you've got a couple of files that you need to trim the ends and stuff. Well, this is how you can do it using Avidemux. Firstly, I'm just going to hit the filters button, and just because of the way I do my drafts, I'm going to hit crop, and in bottom I'm just going to push that up and hide my start bar, which I happen to know is 86 pixels, and hit OK. And then I'm going to hit resize, and I'm going to resize the whole thing to 720p, which is 1280 by 720, and hit close. So I'm just going to quickly do that. Now, imagining this is my file, what we're going to do is we want to do it so we don't have to sit and watch it all. So there's a batch file system built into Avidemux. So using these buttons here, which is the move along keyframe, and these ones here are move along frames, we can just jump across until we find the start of the game, which is here. Let's press space. And we're just going to go into a game that's already running, just so we can see it. Okay. Magic the Gathering, and we're just going to go into a game that's already. Okay, well, obviously you wouldn't be talking over the start of the game, but yeah, normally you'd want to have a gap in your voice. See, I was just rabbiting on, so there was no break in my voice, so it'll sound like a hard cut. Anyway, so you find the exact position using the frames, and then you hit A, hit it twice, and then we just come along till the end of the game. Not so many nice cards here. Doing some thinking and some talking. Okay, stop. And you hit stop. And then you go frame back to find the exact cut, like so, and hit B. Now we just go File, Add to Job List. We'll call this Match 1, Game 1, and we'll call this Match 1, Game 1.avi. Oh, and it's important to put the .avi when you're saving, because this application won't automatically write the extension. If you forget to do that, don't panic, because it's written the file in the correct format. It just hasn't given it the extension, so just rename it to say .avi. And we're just going to select all, and let's Control A, and then Control C to copy that little output text there, and hit OK. And now let's just find the next game, which is there. So play. That one will cut better because there's no yapping all over it. Hit A, see how it does that? Hit it twice. And we'll just find the end of that game. And go without it. Okay, anyway, so let's hit stop, and you'll see why I would. Okay. Oops, shit, wrong button. And go without it. Hit the frame button, not the keyframe button. So let's hit stop, and you'll see why I would. And we'll just find that exact cut for the end of that game. And we'll hit the B button and there's the second game. And you can see why I'm doing this. If you record a big long file that has a whole bunch of matches and your deck editing, you can then set this all up and only encode the bits you need. And see, we go add to job list, we'll call this match 1, game 2. We'll just go Control V to paste that in and just change this to 2 and go OK. View job list. See, now we've got a list, you've set up all your games, you can actually encode it and go off and do something else like watch Game of Thrones, and you won't have to deal with, you know, doing everything. It's, you know, it's a lot more time efficient way of doing it. So I'm going to just go to view job list and hit run all jobs and let that go and do its thing. And there you go, it's off. So I'm just going to pause it now. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so that's almost finished. You can see that it's finished the first one and it's just finishing up the second one now. Okay, let's have a look at them. There's our two files. You see the first one's 3 meg and the second one's 4 meg. So still pretty small. And let's just double click on the second one, for example. And you'll see I've got the time turned off. It's now cropped perfectly. Looks nice and profesh. We've got our little InfraView image here with a tag if we want it. And it's 720p, perfect for uploading to YouTube. So, I mean, that's it. We're pretty much done with this tutorial. There is only one more thing to talk about, and that is sometimes, on the very rare occasions, you'll get a game that is longer than 15 minutes, or maybe the drafting section's longer than 15 minutes. And it can be a pain to do the cutting the way I just showed you. I find it simpler to just completely cut out the sections you want. Personally, I do drafting, then I do game that ends in the deck building, and then I have looking at the next deck, so on. Anyway, but the point is I chuck it out in sections, like match 1, game 1, match game 2, whatever. But sometimes something will be longer than 15 minutes. And what you want to do then is we just load up Avidemux again, and we just bring the file back in. Click on no and then click yes, and it will load in the file. Okay, now down here you can see that this particular file is 29 seconds and some milliseconds. Okay, so imagine that was 29 minutes, right? You want to cut it in half. You get 15 minutes for a YouTube video, so you know 29 minutes you could fit into 2 videos easy. But for art's sake, we're just going to put in at 15 seconds. Oh, actually hit A first and then put in at 15 seconds and hit enter. And that's just going to jump to the 15-second mark, and then we'll hit B. Okay? And that's it. That's all we need to do. Now we can leave it at copy, and we'll just go File, Save as Video. We'll call it cut test1.avi. Bang, look how quick that is, because it's not actually doing anything, it's just sort of cutting it. And then we can just hit A, double click is always good, and then jump to the end, and then hit B, and then go File, Save as Video, and we'll call that cut 2. So once you've done it all and you've got it all encoded, if you find that you've got a video or a game or a section of your video is longer than 15 minutes, you can use this method to just quickly cut it without any more re-encoding. And that's it. So I hope that was useful and not too boring, and well, have fun, I guess.